Hey. All right, grab for me Evolution of Populations, Part 4. Make sure you're taking notes and writing down what I say. Okay, so there's two types of polymorphism. There's phenotypic and genotypic. And so before we even start, let's just look at the words. So you have phenotypic, polymorphism, okay, so first, remember back from genetics, what is a phenotype? And so if you're thinking it's a physical character, you're right. So above the word phenotype, write physical appearance. But really what it is it's the DNA that's expressed. And so it's the already expressed DNA. Okay, remember what does poly mean? And poly means many, so write that above poly. And then morph actually means shape. And so you actually knew poly and morphism from our prefix and suffix game. And so now, knowing that it's expressed characteristics in many forms, knowing just the prefix and suffixes, you can really tell what the word is. It says these are reflected as single genes, so one trait. They're also either or, so like either you have a widow's peak or you don't. Phenotypic polymorphism, a different sequence of nucleotides that make that gene. And so there's different forms, and so check out this picture here. So you either have the widow's peak or you don't. So like either or. It says this basically means that there exist multiple versions of the same basic gene. And so if you look here at blood type, right, there's A, there's B, there's AB, or there's O. And remember that blood typing is a physical characteristic because your DNA is expressed in your blood type, even though you can't really see blood type. So with blood typing, these are different versions, poly, many phenotypes. So many different phenotypes. So it says A, B, and O. Blood types, for example, these are blood types, but they are underlined different versions. Okay, now let's think about the next word. Is genotypic polymorphism. Okay, so genotype, that's your DNA. That's the sequence of DNA that you have, your genes, many forms. And so really what this is, it's all about the numbers. We all have the gene to make, for this example, is melon. But we have different numbers of that gene. So for example, this person here, they have lots of numbers of melon. Melon is the pigment that we all make that makes skin brown. Except people with really fair skin and red hair, they actually make a different one. But everyone else that has blonde or brown or black or any color hair like that, we all make melon, and it just depends on how many copies of that gene you've got. And so the person, if you're looking, this person right here on the bottom right, they make lots of copies of melon. Well, the person on the bottom left, they make melon too, but not near as many. So the different number of genes makes the different phenotypes. Write that in. That was good. Different number of genes makes the different phenotypes. Okay, so looking at your notes, it says quantitative. That's going to be a number, right? You know that quantitative means number. There's several different phenotypic outcomes. Okay, so with evolutionary flow, we got that coming up. There's another example. Albinism, a person or animal with albinism doesn't have any of the melon. They don't express any of that gene. Okay, so with your evolutionary flows, I'm actually going to draw these, and I want you to flip over your notes and draw these also. And so let's say here's the original population, and we'll put that in a dotted line. Okay, so if the population changes or evolves, evolutionary flow, in one direction, that's called, the first one, directional selection. Okay, an example of this would be giraffes' necks. They have gotten longer. So if this is the length of the neck, then the average used to be 5, and I'm just making these numbers up, 5 to 10. Now it's 7 to 12. So Giraffes' necks have gotten longer. It's not like some have gotten shorter and some have gotten longer. They've all gotten longer. And so directional selection, the bell curve for a trait follows in one direction. Okay, let me give you another example. Or the next one, actually. Okay, so diversifying. Here's your original population still. That's always your original population. So you want to draw all three of these. Diversifying is where the young, or the one end of the spectrum survives, and the other end of the spectrum survives, but the middle dies out. It's not beneficial to be that middle. And so, example here maybe would be birds' beaks. Let's just go for that example. If you have a small beak, you can get lots of little nuts or berries or twigs or worms. So you're able to do that. If you have a really large beak, you're able to scoop up fish and, like a pelican almost. But that middle-sized beak doesn't last. That is it selected against. And I don't know that that's true. That was just an example. Okay, let me give you another example. Would be like mice, coat color. The light color survives, and the dark color survives. But that brown color mice doesn't live for whatever reason. Maybe the environment selected against that. The environment is either sandy or really dark, and so brown doesn't last. So that would be diversifying. Make sure you got that one down. And then the last one is going to be stabilizing. And that's where average works out the best. And so, like human baby weight is a good example here. Babies that are too small, a lot of times their lungs are underdeveloped and they die. Premature babies. Babies that are too large, the mom has complications delivering those. So babies that are between 6 and 8 ounces, that's your sweet spot. That's the good place to go. So stabilizing is where there's a certain trait that's really selected for, and it's right in the middle. These are all related to some traits that are beneficial for survival. So it's all about surviving. It's all about who can survive and pass down their genes. Okay, the next thing on the notes. Okay, so the next thing with neutral variation, it says no survival benefits or harm are there. So it's like a trait that doesn't help or hurt. Kind of like widow speak, it doesn't help you mate or not help you mate, it doesn't help you survive. So no survival benefit or harm. That's why it's neutral. For example, your fingerprints. Everyone has different fingerprints, but that doesn't help you survive or help you make babies or anything like that. And then sexual dimorphism is where, think about, okay, so it says the two versions, male or female, are a direct result of secondary sexual characteristics. So men that are humans have thicker skin and a larger Adam's apple and facial hair and more muscle mass. That's because of testosterone. So that would be characteristics. The difference leads to sexual selection. So intrasexual, INTRA, are where males fight. Where the males are fighting, so there's your intrasexual, INTRA, males are fighting. Intersexual, INTER, is where the women choose. And so it says males strut to attract their female, like this peacock here. The male struts out, and the woman, the female peacock, chooses which peacock she likes the best, which one has the prettiest ones. And so female choice based on fitness. And so these would be intrasexual and intersexual. That's all non-random mating. So right out beside the inter and the intrasexual, that's non-random mating. Because with intrasexual, the girl is going to mate with the boy that wins the fight. And intersexual, the girl's going to mate with the one that's the prettiest. And so that's non-random mating, which leads to evolution. And so non-random mating leads to evolution, right? The competition between individuals makes sure that the best or the most fit genes are passed to the next generation. And I hope that was helpful.